Here we go.
1996. Well, my first mountain bike was a Fila Incline from Costco, and I went and put every single accessory that I could possibly find onto it. Everything you could think of from 1996 mountain bike accessories was on there. And unfortunately, I had nowhere to ride it because I grew up basically out in a field, like way outside of Edmonton in the country. And so my parents would drive me an hour each way to the middle of the Edmonton River Valley so that we can have some hills to go up and down. And I remember showing up on the first day, very nervous with my Fila Incline, totally decked out, really nice kickstand and all. And the guy who was coaching the team, I shouldn't call it a team, it was just like a kid's ride thing. He was like, okay, step one, we're gonna take all that crap off of your bike because you just put like an extra 5 pounds of nothing on this thing and it's already pretty heavy. So we took all that stuff off and then we went and rode. Yeah, that was 1996. And so my first real bike was the next year, and it's a sick bike, by the way. It's from Cannondale. It's an F700 Olympic Edition. And so it had and it was Alison Sider's Olympic Edition bike. So it was like Canada flag, red to white. It's pretty amazing. Nice. Head shock, 80 millimeters. Yeah. I don't know. That's a great question. I know I didn't want to work for anybody because I'm really bad at being an employee. I've been let go of a lot of jobs. It's never worked out that well for me. I have too many ideas and I'm very willing to share them, which doesn't always go over super well. So I started the process of making a bass building business, like bass guitar. But I was just in high school, so it didn't really go anywhere. But I thought that was gonna be it. I was gonna make bass guitars, like custom bass guitars. So yeah, probably that. I started planning out the YouTube channel in 2016, and I was fully ready to go with that. I was sending out pitches to bike companies and things with all kinds of confidence at the end of 2016, and I didn't even have a channel or a channel name. There was nothing to show for it whatsoever, but I remember sending an email to Nolly and being like, hey guys, this is the plan, this is what we're doing, you should get on board because this is gonna be a big YouTube channel. Here are the reasons why. I'm gonna make it look good and sound good, gonna be more relatable because at the time it was just shred-its, it's the only thing that you could find anywhere for bike content. And we had this whole plan, and I got Pink Bike on board for a shoot, and I got Tourism BC on board, even though they've never heard of me before, and all this kind of stuff. And I was just getting into the deep end and then trying to, swim up to the surface, as I always do. And so that's how the channel started, was I want to be more in the mountain bike industry, because I was kind of getting tired of what I was doing on the photography and video side of things with what I was doing. And I decided this was the best way to make it happen, and the YouTube channel was part of it. It was actually just a place to to host the video from this first big project that I decided to do with Pink Bike and Tourism BC and Coast Gravity Park. And then I just started posting more and more videos, trying to make it look good and sound good. Yeah. End of 2019, perfect timing.
Yes.
Yeah, moved to Canmore in September 2019, which was absolutely amazing. We had been trying to move out there for 6 years or so, and kind of slowly working towards being able to do that. And it was the YouTube channel that allowed us to do it. We kind of built up this scenario where it only made sense to move out there. And we happened to find the best deal on a place to rent in all of Canmore. And we still are there, so that helped too.
Don't ever leave it.
I know, we're paying half price basically for this great house in Canmore. Yeah. Good question. I have a nice bout of social anxiety, and so when it comes to doing YouTube-y things with other people around, can't do it. Still can't do it. Last week, I was sitting down at this amazing table filled with all the pro riders that you could think of, having great conversations, and it was awesome. And I couldn't even get myself to hold up a camera to be ting, I'm at dinner with all these great people. Can't do it. So if I'm at Whistler in the lift line and I know I need to say something, I'll probably wait till I'm like the furthest away from absolutely everybody. So I think that's probably been the hardest part, because I'm just not that guy. There was one that I did, it was my first time hitting Fade to Black, which is double black trail in the Whistler Bike Park. And I was sick to my stomach going into it, like really like not feeling great about this, because it was really difficult for me. And at the time, my jumping skills were very, very bad. Not saying they're great now, but it was something for me to commit to that kind of thing. And so my friend Pete helped me out with that. And it was this whole process, and the edit came together really nicely. But my favorite part about it is that it turned from me trying to do this thing to at the very end, Pete saw this gap that he could go from Fade to Black and drop into A-line. Don't do that, by the way, you're not supposed to do that. But all of a sudden it shifted from me trying to figure this stuff out to him trying to figure something out. So it kind of just moved up a level. And it just came together so nicely in the edit of just like mountain biking, just people in the woods trying to do hard things and making it fun. I don't know, that one sticks out. That one was really cool. Some of the ones in Peru, because it was just so beautiful there. Even though my camera was malfunctioning like crazy, actually the gimbal, you used to have to use gimbals to have like a steady camera, and the gimbals would always break. They would always be breaking. So you'd fly all the way to Peru and you couldn't film anything. So, but the countryside there was incredible, despite having, what is that? Not elevation sickness, what is it?
Altitude sickness.
Altitude sickness. Had a little bit of that at the time, but pretty incredible memories from that, yeah. It's one of those things where, like, especially when you're in those scenarios where, again, I'll bring it back to, just because it's fresh on my mind, last week, you have like pro riders and people really high up in the industry, and like Michelin bigwigs are there and like all this kind of stuff. And then I constantly think about the fact that all we're doing is just like rolling bicycles down hills and going wee, and that's it. Like that's everything. World Cup racing, all this serious business, it's just a bunch of kids rolling bikes down hills. And so I think having that in the back of your head all the time is really important in this sport. I mean, any sport, I think, because sport is just goofing around, really. And then you get more and more serious. I instantly went to table tennis there. I don't know if you noticed that. I like table tennis. I never play it anymore, but that was interesting. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, things can get really serious really fast. So I think it's always important to just bring it back to why you're actually doing this, because it should just be fun. Like, yeah. And you can take it seriously to try and get better, but it still should, at the end of the day, just be about fun. So I try and just bring that into the videos as much as possible. And not trying to be cool is like the #1 thing. If you just don't worry about trying to look cool, then you can be yourself. Yeah. That's what, anytime I feel like I like get caught in that trap where it's like some people way better than me and there's this thing on the trail, they're like, oh yeah, I think we can gap from there to there. Ryan, go for it. Anytime I try and think, oh man, I better do this, I don't want to look not cool, that's when I crash. It's like, that's when my brain's not working right. I don't do the right things with movements and everything, and down I go. Yeah, just never worry about it. Don't try and be the cool guy on the trail or the cool girl on the trail, because usually that means you're not having fun if you're worried too much about that. Yeah, totally. But it's a tricky thing because I like things to look good and sound good. Yeah. And so I like bringing in high quality videography, which typically would go in hand with looking cool, right? Like it's pretty hard to separate those two things out. But yeah, as soon as they see me riding or me talking, that usually levels out things quite nicely. But yeah, just to try and keep it chill. I think a really big part, as far as like if you're wanting to put out, there's the fun part of it, but then there's actually just the informational side of it to help people, to help bring people into the same moment where you're at. Almost nothing gets conveyed through the camera and through the microphone when it comes to riding a bike. And so anytime, like let's say I'm riding with somebody who knows that they're going to be on camera, and I might even put a camera on them and be, you know, I tell them to just chill. You don't have to try and do anything crazy. Don't worry about camera courage or anything like that. But the biggest thing is just describe what's going on, because the camera cannot show people. Like the camera is just like this floating thing through space making its way down the trail. So I find that as far as like people connecting with the videos, especially early on, I was describing what the dirt was like as I was riding over it. Like what's the grip, what the grip is like, what does it smell like in this forest in the middle of BC with cedars around, and like it smells amazing, right? So any kind of like descriptions like that can help bring people into the moment. And then you're kind of automatically probably gonna have more fun watching it because you feel more a part of the whole thing. Yeah, that's something that's definitely been important for the Loam Ranger channel. Yeah, it's I'm riding Ibis bikes as always. Been riding Ibis forever, and it's a tricky thing. So I'm in the fortunate position where I get to try out lots of different bikes from them, all the way from like the really short travel stuff to the HD6. But going into this year, the HD6 and the Oso, that's just what I'm riding like all the time. The HD6 pedals so well, and it's got so much suspension travel. I can go to Whistler on it or anywhere in BC. And then the Oso is the same thing, but with a motor in it. So like, that's what I'm gonna be riding pretty much all year. And as far as like some of the other parts on there, Michelin's got the new tires for the e-bike, which I'm really pumped about, and the enduro bike actually, the e-Wild and the Wild Enduro racing line. Yeah, I know like NF is coming up with a lot of new stuff this year. I'm wearing, this is their old logo. Probably shouldn't even be wearing it anymore, but they've got a new logo that actually looks like NF and not AF, which is sick. But yeah, they've got a lot of cool stuff coming out. I don't even have my hands on it yet, but I'm excited to check it out, like the pants and the jerseys and everything. Yeah, and as far as where I'm riding, I'm trying not to travel as much as possible. I want to spend maximum amount of time in Canmore, Alberta, my town where I live, because it's amazing. And so I want to ride Razor's Edge, which is probably one of the best trails you'll ever ride. It's in that area. Nordic Center for the fun, fast, like cruisy laps. Yeah, maybe on out to Invermere, Mount Swansea. I know I'm going to be at Mount Swansea in April, because that's where all of Alberta goes in April, is Mount Swansea. Yeah, just sticking around because there's such good riding.